It is Wednesday, my dudes. Hi, welcome back. Today is Wednesday, March 25th, and it is day 6 of At Home Learning. Today we're going to dig into Chapter 1 of Little Rock Girl 1957, and we're going to analyze the what? Louder, please? That's right. Text structure. So, the first thing I asked you guys to do yesterday as you were reading is to figure out if Chapter 1 is narrative or informational text. So let's go back to those questions I gave you yesterday and see how they apply to Chapter 1 and everybody's favorite game show. Is it a narrative? Okay, question 1 was, is there a main character, a central character? So I noticed that almost immediately, Chapter 1 focuses on Elizabeth Eckford. As we go on through the rest of the chapter, I notice that she remains the focus of the text. So to go back to that original question, yes, there is a central character. Check that off the list. Question 2 was, is there a plot? Is there a sequence of events or actions that build upon each other to tell a story? To summarize from the beginning of the chapter, we notice the following. Elizabeth is walking to school. Elizabeth passes an angry mob. Elizabeth attempts to enter the school. Elizabeth is turned away by the National Guard. Elizabeth goes to sit on a bench and wait for a bus. Elizabeth is bothered by interviewers and photographers. Elizabeth finally boards the bus. Elizabeth goes home. Series of actions and events? Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Check it off. That brings us to the final question, is there description? As I look through the text, the author is clearly using sensory details at different points in time to help me visualize what I'm reading. She describes Elizabeth's outfit, she describes the jeers of the mob and the negative energy they were bringing. She describes the fear that Elizabeth was experiencing. She describes the kindness of those who reached out to Elizabeth. There are details that appeal to all of my senses and really try to put me in Elizabeth's shoes so I know what it was like for her experiencing the events of that day. So yes, check it off, there was description. Additionally, there were some other trademarks of narratives, there were other characters, and there was dialogue. So all across the board, Chapter 1 clearly is a narrative. Now, the next question was, why start the book this way? When I look at the cover of the book, which I know you all have not had the privilege to do because you don't have a physical copy of the book, I noticed that the subtitle of the book is How a Photograph Changed the Fight for Integration. How a photograph changed the fight for integration. Not how a group of students changed the fight for integration or how a girl changed the fight for integration, but how a photograph changed the fight for integration. With that subtitle in mind, I realized that this book is not so much about the Little Rock Nine or even Elizabeth Eckford. It's about that photograph. The one that Will Counts took with Elizabeth Eckford in the foreground, the angry mob in the background, and Hazel Bryan behind her, sneering, making that horrible face. So, one reason I think Shelley Tugas started the book this way is because she is giving us that scene. This book is about this photograph. Here's what it was. Here's how it started. Another reason I think the book started this way, and not to spoil anything, but this is the most intense scene of the text. It's pretty terrifying. The first time I read this book, I had not done any background research on the Little Rock Nine, Elizabeth Eckford, or the violence of desegregation, and I was worried for her. It made me really anxious to read, but it also created suspense that made me want to read on. And that's the whole point of a hook or an opening to a book, correct? Authors want you to keep reading. If they start a book in a boring way, you're gonna move on to something else. So, I think that Shelley Tugas started with this really engaging scene, as horrible and terrifying as it was, to draw the reader in and get them to continue on with the book. If you have any other thoughts, you can feel free to share those in the Little Rock Girl Chapter 1 discussion thread on Canvas. So Chapter 1 structure is pretty straightforward, and it's pretty clear why the author decided to organize the text this way. The other chapters, however, require a little bit more analysis. So we're gonna have to put on our no, I'm not gonna say thinking cap, nope, or detective hat, I'm done, we're done with hats. I'm here in my apartment with no hats, so we're not gonna talk about hats.
Calm down, is relaxation, chill out, stop screaming.
So we're gonna have to be critical readers and try to figure out how is the chapter written, why is it written that way, and how does it contribute to the overall text structure. So keep this type of analysis in your mind as you read Chapter 2. Chapter 2 is one of the longer chapters of the book, so I'm going to split it up over 2 days. You can feel free to read through the whole thing in one sitting if you'd like. For tomorrow, Thursday, it is my expectation that you will have read at least pages 12 through 17. By Friday, it is expected that you have finished Chapter 2 and read pages 17 through 26. Again, as you're reading, continue to ask yourself, what style of writing am I reading? Is it informational or narrative? Also ask yourself, how is this chapter put together? What is the focus? What is it doing for me, the reader? And why would Shelley Tugas put it together this way? Recap time! Again, for tomorrow, read at least the first half of Chapter 2 of Little Rock Girl 1957. You can check that out via the ebook or the audiobook. Also, continue throughout the week to work on your IXL. I'm checking them pretty regularly because I don't have anything else to do. This week we have D2 as our required skill and J1 as the optional extra credit. Also, don't forget to read a choice book and make sure to update that yellow reading log or contribute to our book talk discussion on Canvas. Well, ladies and gents, that's it for me. It's been a pleasure. Shake your hand. Oh, we can't shake hands, okay? All right, cool. Just do a thumbs up or a air five or a double okay. It's a peace sign. I hope you're doing well. I miss you, and I will see you tomorrow.